Hey, 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 chickadees. Welcome to today's episode of Mojo Mysticism. I'm so glad you're here, that you're joining us. So, again, as we have been all week, we are pulling from the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reed. And I think a theme is officially arising today. So, yesterday was a little iffy. I didn't think we had a theme. Today, there is no doubt we have a theme. And we'll get right into it. So, the first card that came out for us today is card number 35. This is a tall tale. Number 35, a tall tale. Been a while since we've seen this card. So the second card we got is a repeat from yesterday. This is card number 30, Shining Through. Card number 30, Shining Through. And the final card we got today is card number card number 4. This is Great and Full. Great and Full. Ooh, and the theme is continuing on the theme that we have been seeing playing out this week. And we are called to task with the first card. The first card being a tall tale. Is we haven't seen this in a while, but we have seen it before, and we have been specifically asked before by our guides to take a look at where we are fooling ourselves. Where are we in denial about our authenticity? Okay, so this is the theme that is absolutely arising this week. It's all about understanding who we are in the symphony of this world and the multifaceted diamond, and taking a good hard look at where we are telling ourselves some stories where maybe we think we're more authentic than we are, and that's specifically what they're driving home tonight, is looking at where are we fooling ourselves, where are we in denial about where we're really at. I have a habit of doing this. I'll just be honest, of course. I try to always be honest. And yeah, so I have a tendency to tell myself stories about things maybe being a little bit better than they actually are. And so this card is reminding me, and it's reminding all of us, to be very, very truthful with exactly where we are in the process, in the land between, while we're going through the goo of the chrysalis, becoming that butterfly on the other side. The goo is not fun, and the goo is goo, right? So let's not try to pretend it's not goo. So I was explaining this to one of my mentors today, that I just kind of I did feel like I also, as you all know, I am in that land between. And I said, I feel like I am, that I've been in that goo stage for quite a while, actually, for probably the better part of a year, and maybe longer, actually probably longer. And that I now am beginning to sense, maybe starting to feel a little bit, that there is some form happening, I'm going to say in the middle of the goo. So it is not outright, it's not overt, it is very much maybe there. Maybe I'm starting to feel it. I don't feel it. I don't see it yet. Like I'm not, and it's okay. Like I've become pretty comfortable most of the time with the land between. I guess if you spend a year there, year plus, let's see, how long has it been? This is the end of August. I've been there 16 months now. Officially 16 months. So probably, actually, if I really think about it, probably closer to 18 or 20 months. So, getting there. You'd think things would be forming. So, and I think they are, and I can sense that they are. They have not yet formed enough for me to identify it as actually happening. It's more of a sense, like things seem to be getting a little more solid. I realize that all of this is very vague conversation, also very one-sided. But I'm just kind of sharing with you where I am, where I feel like I'm at. But things are becoming very, very clear to me. But that doesn't mean that the good is transformed yet, because it does not feel like it has. It feels like there is a coalescing, maybe is the word for it, that's happening inside, deep inside. So, so I get to sit with the tall tale, and you get to sit with the tall tale, and we all get to sit around and talk and tell tall tales about our tall tales. So, but I laugh because it's a very serious topic, and yet also it's not as heavy as we make light of it, if we make light of it. So, but the thing they are actually asking us in reality to do is examine ourselves, examine the stories, not that we're telling other people, because those will evaporate once we stop telling ourselves tall tales. So it's really an inside job, really looking inward at where are we telling ourselves that things are maybe better than they are, right? Or maybe we feel fine when we don't. Or maybe, maybe I have a tendency to tell myself that I don't have fear when I know I have fear. So whatever the story, the tall tale happens to be for you, that's what we're being asked to look at with this first card. And then the interesting thing is that on Shining Through yesterday, it applies in the same manner today as it did yesterday. And in that manner, we're asked to look at the tall tales in our life, but then also looking at what voices are in our heads that are keeping us small. Okay? What voices are in our heads that are keeping us small? And since we're now also in Molly's therapy session, we'll just call it that. One of my mentors earlier today also asked me, I'm going to look at my notes here, but also, was asking me if I've got some fear, right, about an area of my life, like to really look at that, really face it. And that's kind of why the tall tale card's coming up. So hopefully this resonates with you, because it's, again, confessional time from Molly. But the tall tale card is coming up because of that, right? Because we get the opportunity to look at where we might be fibbing ourselves, fooling ourselves, maybe trying to talk ourselves into something that's just not yet true, right? And Shining Through is saying, hey, wait, hang on a second here. So don't tell yourself tall tales that diminish who you are, right? That make you play small, that you cower to because you begin to believe you're not enough or you're not worthy. And maybe these are things that we've heard our whole lives, right? A lot of us have, right? A lot of us have issues around self-worth. But that's what Shining Through is about. It's saying, yeah, okay, I get it. So you're telling yourself a tall tale. That's great. Knowing that you're telling yourself a tall tale and what it is means you're no longer telling yourself the tall tale. So now you get to shine through. Now you're invited to let that go and not play small, right? To step step towards that thing that scared you before. So I could put a list, but we don't have, 6 hours. So, but walk toward your fear. So there's a story, I don't know how to cite the story actually, but there is I'm really not sure who first told this story, and I need to find this out because this story is in shift. There's a story about buffalo and cattle. And I lived in Oklahoma for quite a number of years, almost the better part of 3 decades. And they have, as you may or may not know, an area, the northern part of Oklahoma is an area called the Great Plains. So, and there are buffalo that roam the Great Plains. And the story goes something like this. This is very, very fitting because the guides here, like in my world right now, have brought a severe thunderstorm through. So literally, if you see this half of my face light up, it's because there's lightning out the window. But in a storm, cattle have been observed to run away from the storm. Okay, so and by running away, I mean they're running with the direction of the storm, trying to outrun the storm. Doesn't work very well, and unfortunately it means you're in the storm longer than you would be otherwise. Whereas buffalo have been observed to turn and face the storm. And they face the storm because they know that the storm will be shorter if they run in the direction of the storm. So they face it and they run it. This is what we're being asked to do with our fear. This is what Molly's also being asked to do with her fear, is run in the direction of the fear. Face it full on. Say, yep, howdy fear. That's also an Oklahoma term. But how you doing? Thank you for trying to protect me. I'm going to face you and walk in the direction of you. That's what shining through is actually asking us to do. Not diminish ourselves, not play small. We're not putting our voice on a shelf. We're not shutting down in any way. We're actually stepping into more and more authenticity. And as we acknowledge where we're telling ourselves the tall tales, and as we commit to shining through that and not playing small and not diminishing ourselves and continuing to use our voice and our power, we end up with card number 3, which is great and full. And the reason this happens, that we end up naturally in a place of gratitude, is that we have been through the storm. We have faced our fears. And we understand that that invitation leads us to this place of gratitude. Because once we come through the storm of our fear, once we stop telling ourselves the tall tale, we move in that direction, move right into shining through, we get ourselves back in alignment and we begin to see more clearly the areas of our lives where we are grateful. So we see the abundance, we experience it differently. Then sometimes it's very, very hard when you're telling yourself tall tales to really, truly be grateful. And I don't know about you, but I have been known to tell myself a few tall tales about being grateful, right? Sometimes I'll use a gratefulness list to kind of talk myself out of being in a shitty mood. Am I truly grateful? No. Am I using it as a tool to move in that direction? Yes, I am. Should I be aware when I'm doing that I am telling myself a tall tale on purpose? Yes, I should, right? But that does happen from time to time. And I think, if you observe people that, there are people that just like exude gratitude just in their presence, through their energy, right? Because they have that fully ingrained, fully embodied state of gratitude. So their very presence brings it with them, right? And they'll verbalize it. And then sometimes you'll run into somebody, like I occasionally could be, that will be basically trying to talk themselves out of a shitty mood, right? And they'll use terms like, I'm so grateful for this, I'm so grateful for that. They're looking for things to begin to change their vibration and their frequency. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Nothing whatsoever. What I want you to be aware of is when you are in either of those states and why. There's nothing good or bad about either one of them. They're just different states of being great and full. And lastly, with the grateful piece of this, it also is about knowing, not just thinking, not just repeating affirmations, but truly, truly in the depth of your being, knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. As again, that beautiful facet of the diamond, that you were put on this earth to be, to represent, right? That beautiful expression of the divine. So that's what this week apparently is about, is all of us being encouraged to move more in the direction of that unique, authentic, deeply, deeply authentic version of it, an expression of the divine. So, chickadees, that's it for tonight. Please hit subscribe if you haven't hit subscribe. I actually think we're going to move more towards dedicated YouTube videos. I've been doing short form on YouTube, also on some other platforms. I'm considering changing that and really just focusing on YouTube. Maybe short form and long form, but definitely the long form. If you think it's a good idea for me to focus on long form videos, and I'm not talking about videos where we just do this, where we're pulling oracle cards and we're getting messages from spirit, but also maybe starting to talk about some of the other deeper concepts that are coming up in Shift, please let me know in the comments and hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. So thank you so much. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow. Mwah.